All right, welcome into the postgame show, everybody. Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. I'm Dan Tanner, your host for In the Paint, as the Nuggets beat the Suns 122-105 is your final. The Nuggets are on their longest winning streak on the season. 6 wins in a row for the Nuggets. They are now 34-19 on the year. They're third place in the Western Conference. They've actually overtaken the Houston Rockets, who are currently down to the 5 seed in the West, and the Los Angeles Lakers are in the 4 seed. So they're just a game and a half back of the Memphis Grizzlies. So a top 2 seed is very much in play for the Denver Nuggets as we get closer and closer to the NBA All-Star break. Just a couple more games left for the Nuggets until we get to the All-Star break. So Aaron Gordon back tonight, Jamal back tonight, no Michael Porter Jr. Doesn't sound like it's anything too serious. He has left hamstring tightness, so it's nothing to do with the back, nothing to do with the feet. Left hamstring tightness for MPJ. In fact, it was the first game that he missed so far this season. But what a fantastic win for the Nuggets tonight. Now, the Suns were missing just about everybody, mostly Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. But this was still an excellent road win for the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic gets another sophomore double. He doesn't have to play in the fourth quarter. I mean, how many games is that now this year where Nikola Jokic has not had to play in the fourth quarter? And I've talked about this for years and years now. You want to load manage Nikola Jokic for the rest of your stars. Build up a big enough lead to where they don't have to play in the fourth quarter. This recipe so far just this year has probably saved Nikola Jokic close to about 2 basketball games. If there's 8 fourth quarters he does not have to play in, that's about 2 games off the old tires there. So that's great to see. And 11 of 13 shooting for the Joker. Incredible efficiency again tonight. 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 26 points, plus 19 in just his 29 minutes. Got into a little bit of foul trouble early on in this game. 2 fouls in the first quarter. Had to go out a little bit early. Didn't actually affect the rotation a whole lot, which was good to see. He was able to still come back in about midway through the second quarter, which is where he normally is. So that was excellent to see as well. But I tell you what, this Nuggets team is starting to find their groove. And it's beautiful to see. Aaron Gordon still looks like he's trying to get his legs underneath him. He looks like he's just off right now. And in fact, there were some moments in tonight's game where he's below the rim getting an offensive rebound where typically you would see Aaron Gordon just power back up, sort of springboard back up and dunk that thing home. He's just not quite there yet. And this is just going to kind of be an ongoing process. Now, the concern is this just him being a little bit rusty, trying to get his legs underneath him, or is he hampered by his left calf injury that he's been managing and the team has been managing throughout the year? I think that's a really big question. Now, the All-Star break will certainly help. In fact, I was going to get into tonight, the Nuggets really could have a good opportunity here to sort of play around and toy with their roster these last few games before the All-Star break. So they have back-to-back home games against the Portland Trailblazers, who have suddenly caught fire like midway through the season. But they have a good opportunity to rest some of these guys. Like, if I were Coach Malone, I'm not playing Jamal Murray in at least one of those games. I'm not playing Aaron Gordon in one or maybe both of those games. Certainly not playing Russell Westbrook until after the All-Star break. And then obviously Peyton Watson is going to be out until early to mid-March. I do think this would be a good opportunity for Coach Malone to do that. Now, what I would like to see happen, what I think will happen are 2 different things. Knowing Coach Malone the way we all do over the years, I would be surprised if he took that approach. I would be, because he wants to. He'll play his guys big time minutes before there's a long break coming up. Now, keep in mind, Nikola Jokic is going to be playing in the All-Star game, so he's not getting just 8 days off. I'd be surprised if Joker didn't play in one of these 2 games. That would be shocking to me. I would suspect that he'll play in both of them. But Joker hasn't been dealing with injury situations like Russell, like Jamal, like MPJ. I mean, heck, should Michael Porter Jr. just come back after the All-Star break? Because here's the thing, like with the Avs right now, they just beat Edmonton last night, and the NHL is now on a break for the Four Nations Face-Off tournament, which I can't wait for. It's going to be awesome. International hockey is one of my favorite things to watch, as well as international basketball, best on best. But in the NHL, they have a full 2 weeks off. Now, obviously, you've got 4 Avalanche players that are going to be in that tournament. But the point is, everybody else, they get a full 2 weeks off. Even if you're not playing in the All-Star break, you're getting 1 week off. So they're getting literally half the time of the quote-unquote All-Star break, even though it's not technically an All-Star break this year in the NHL. They're getting double the amount of time off in the NHL than they are in the NBA. So I do think this would be a really good opportunity for Coach Malone, who, let's be honest, this Nuggets team has just been sort of slapping Band-Aids all over the place when it comes to injury management this year. I think it would benefit the team to just, hey, Michael, we'll see you after the All-Star break. Hey, Jamal, you're playing in one of these 2 games max, because he's been dealing with those knee issues that Malone said is just sort of on and off. Aaron Gordon may be playing one of these games. Russell Westbrook, we'll see you after the All-Star break. I mean, this team, the reason I've kind of come to this conclusion is a good problem for the Nuggets. Julian Strawther, great bounce back game tonight. I thought he was pretty tentative early on, but he started shooting the basketball with confidence later on in this game. Had a horrible game the other night, goes 1 of 8 shooting from the field, but rebounded nicely tonight. 18 points, 4 of 10 shooting from 3. I mean, he wasn't super efficient overall, but what I really liked about Julian tonight was after the first probably 6 or so minutes of the first quarter where I thought he did look tentative, and he did get the start tonight, that went away. And he was shooting the ball with confidence after that, and he started knocking some shots down. So good to see. So my point is, the Nuggets have had guys on this team that a lot of us, myself included, earlier on this season, really didn't think they were good enough depth pieces to come in and spot start, to help some of the star players who are dealing with injury management, help the team still be able to be competitive and potentially win basketball games while doing that, while managing the star players' injury situations. I mean, and there's a lot of them right now for the Nuggets. The All-Star break truly couldn't come at a better time for this team. But Julian Strawther, Zeke Naji, didn't have a great game tonight. I still think he was pretty good on the defensive end of the floor, which is clearly now his forte on this team. I mean, he can provide a little bit of offense, but the one thing Zeke Naji has been consistent at this year, other than sitting on the bench, when he's been in there, he has shown the ability to guard elite offensive players one-on-one and be effective. So he is playable at this point, okay? And again, he's not going to give this team a whole lot on the offensive end, which I think in certain situations and certain scenarios, he's somewhat shown the ability to do that. But the Nuggets don't need Zeke Naji to be an offensive producer for this team. They need him for the role he's been so good at over the last couple of weeks, which is be a truly, really a defensive specialist and a rebounding specialist, which he has been able to show over the last couple of weeks. So I'm okay with playing Zeke Naji over the next 2 games, big time minutes, if it's going to mean extra rest time for the guys that are dealing with injuries. And then you get to a guy like Jalen Pickett, who I talked about this last game, again, after the Magic game. He has shown the ability to come in there with the second unit and really be effective at least being able to run that offense, to get the second unit into a rhythm on the offensive end of the floor, which I think has been missing for the majority of this season. when Nikola Jokic is not on the floor, the second unit struggles so mightily because they have no identity on the offensive end of the floor. Well, Jalen Pickett's been able to come in and at least be able to conduct and orchestrate the offense on the second unit. And I think it's been really beneficial for that second unit. They've been playing better with Jalen Pickett leading the helm for the second unit. So that, again, that's another guy that I am confident in as far as this team's ability to rest some of their star players for injury management purposes. And, DJ, again, nothing super special, but I'll tell you what, he was a beast on the boards tonight. He wasn't getting moved out of there by Mason Plumlee. He wasn't getting moved out of there by Bull, who always seems to play really well against the Nuggets. I'm not sure what that's about, but he was a beast on the boards tonight. 11 rebounds, 4 of those on the offensive end. So these guys that are coming in off the bench, I mean, shoot, even Hunter Tyson was 2 for 2 tonight. These guys aren't world beaters by any stretch of the imagination, but they are good enough right now to at least sort of keep the team competitive in order for the star players to get the rest and the injury management that they need, at least at this point in the season. And if these guys I just talked about, just for the next couple of games until the All-Star break, can really sort of hold the fort down until you get Russell Westbrook back, until you get Peyton Watson back, until you get Jamal Murray not having to be a game time decision every single game because of the swelling that's been occurring in his knee. Same thing with Aaron Gordon and his calf. Can they be effective enough over the next 2 games and give these guys, a little bit more than a week of rest and recovery and rehab for this team to really go all in post All-Star break? And if you remember back to last season, Nikola Jokic basically called a team meeting as the team was gearing up to get going post All-Star break and back into the regular season, and said, all right, guys, it's go time. Now is where we stop messing around. It's go time. Well, I would assume that that's going to be the same message after the All-Star break this year. And the problem last year for this team was they were just ran out of gas. Malone ran this team into the ground. Okay. And he has admitted to that. And we all saw what took place in the playoffs. They beat the Lakers because the Lakers Nuggets matchup heavily favors the Nuggets in that matchup. Now we'll see what happens with Luka and that whole dynamic. I mean, that's going to be a completely different scenario, and no Anthony Davis either. I actually think that the Nuggets have an even bigger advantage over the Lakers now with no Anthony Davis, but we'll save that for another day. But yeah, I really do think this is a good opportunity for the Nuggets to really be careful with Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon specifically, because those two have been dealing with injuries. And shoot, even Michael Porter Jr., even though he's played in every game this season other than tonight, if that hamstring's bugging him, just sit him until post All-Star break. Give him close to 2 weeks off. And I think that would really be beneficial for the team. So look, the Nuggets are in a great spot right now. They're 34-19. As bad as the season started, and it wasn't anything crazy. They were never, 5 to 10 games under 500 or anything like that. The reason it felt so bad and looked so bad, because it was the start of the season, the first month and a half, 2 months of the season were not how I was, or I'm sure a lot of you listening were expecting this season to go, because this team is still in the championship window. Okay, I get that. But they're really starting to find their groove. And Nikola's been at an all-world level all season. Jamal Murray was phenomenal tonight. Absolutely fantastic, especially in the first half. I mean, he finishes the game with 30 points, 6 of 9, nice, shooting from beyond the arc, 5 assists, a couple of steals, and a block for Jamal. He was a plus 18. I've said it all year. If the Nuggets get anything close to the Jamal Murray we've seen over the last month or two, they are fully back in contention as the top dogs for contention for an NBA championship this year. So the thing that makes me nervous right now is dealing with the injury stuff. Aaron Gordon, Jamal, MPJ, I'm not as concerned with because, like I said, this is the first game he's missed this year. But hamstrings can be tricky. And that's why I'm saying just shut it down with MPJ until the post All-Star break. I would play Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray maximum in one of their two games against the Portland Trailblazers before the All-Star break comes up. And I really do think, at least for these next two games, they do have the guys playing with Jokic, obviously. They do have the guys around this team to at least go 1-1. I mean, if they can go 1-1 on those back-to-back home games against the Portland Trailblazers, I would take that as a win. So, it's kind of a weird situation to be in, though, right now, because I get it from, like, Michael Malone's perspective, too. The team's won 6 games in a row. They're on fire. How much do you want to mess with that? Well, it'll be interesting to see what Malone does because, like I said, I really do think he will take into consideration what happened towards the end of last season and knowing that he sort of ran his guys into the ground and they were just, by Game 7 against the Timberwolves, this team was done. I mean, we talk about they could have beaten the Mavs in the Western Conference Finals, and maybe they could have. Do you really think this team last year would have had a chance to beat the Boston Celtics in the finals? I do not. Not with the way that the end of the season played out, where this team was just absolutely gassed. I really do believe, and I really hope that Coach Malone has learned sort of a lesson from last year as far as not playing his guys more than he needs to and not chasing. Look, like I said, the Nuggets actually are in a great spot right now for the 2 seed in the West. I mean, they're just a game and a half back of Memphis, who I've said all year is, in my opinion, are a little bit of a house of cards. I do like what Memphis is building, but they're still a little bit young. And that was kind of my thing all year with the Houston Rockets as well, is they're an up and coming ascending team. They're just a year or two away, in my opinion, both of those teams. So this is going to be the conundrum for Coach Malone. The team's won 6 games in a row. How much does he want to keep that momentum rolling into the All-Star break? I mean, I get it. They have an opportunity to be winners of 8 straight basketball games going into the All-Star break. But how do you balance that with not running these guys in the ground, especially this year where it's a little bit different because you weren't having to injury manage Aaron Gordon's calf last year. You weren't having to injury manage Jamal Murray's knee swelling every other day last year. Now you've got to factor in, well, do they have to injury manage Michael Porter Jr.'s hamstring? So the hope is that, my hope is that Coach Malone really thinks back to last season and is very, very cautious with his star players during this next 2-game stretch. And then look, post All-Star break, I mean, that's where you just got to go for it. You know what I'm saying? But I have also said all season long that I don't think the Nuggets need to get a top 3 seed this year to win it, to really compete and get out of the West. We'll just call it. Now, they are in the 3 seed right now, and they have a very good chance of getting the 2 seed. And look, if they can get a top 2 seed, I mean, I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong. But it's the way that they do it. If they have to, take all the gas out of the tank in order to do that, I don't want them to try and accomplish that specific goal. If they can finish as a top 4 seed while not running these guys into the ground, I would much rather see Malone and the organization go that route this year because they are talented enough and they are good enough to win a championship this year. If they're healthy and if they're not running out of gas towards the end of the season. I think those are the biggest factors. I'd rather have the team healthier and with gas left, plenty of gas in the tank, and get a 4 or 5 seed versus just going pedal to the metal, full throttle to try and get the 2 seed, because they're not going to catch Oklahoma City. I mean, they're 9 games back of the Thunder right now. The Thunder have won 5 in a row. They have the second longest win streak. Actually, them and LA are tied with the second longest win streak in the NBA right now, behind Denver, who does have the longest current win streak in the NBA at 6 games. But again, this team is good enough to win a title as a 4 or 5 seed if they're healthy and if they have plenty of gas left in the tank. And that's what I would like to see this team do. All right, let's get to some of your comments here. My guy Kev, always listen. Appreciate you, Kev. Hey, DT. Another great win. Yep, this was a good one, and I get it. No Bradley Beal, no KD. They had a bunch of guys out tonight, but I think the Nuggets have shown us in the past that just because this team has had a weird propensity to lose to teams where a lot of their star players are out. So don't take this win for granted. This was a very good win for the Nuggets tonight. Let's see here. Kev says, didn't Joker send the team a text instead of yes, you might be right there, Kev. Thank you for correcting that. I mean, but my point is he sent a message to the team basically saying it's go time. Like, we got to take this stuff ultra seriously now. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again. But again, this is where Michael Malone needs to step in and really be the head coach of this basketball team and say, okay, well, I get it, but also we really need to be careful with how we're balancing going for it post All-Star break versus, hey, we need to make sure this team's plenty rested and plenty healthy going into the playoffs. That's the stretch I want the team preparing for the most. In fact, I would love it if Nikola didn't send the text or call the team meeting or whatever it was he did to really gear up the team. Save that for after the regular season. Then it's go time. That's what I want to see out of this team this year. And I get it. Like, having a top 4 seed will benefit you. And I want this team to have home court advantage as much as anybody does. But my point is, I don't think they need to in order to win a title, okay? They had the home court advantage over Minnesota last year. How did that work out? It didn't. It didn't end well because they weren't fully healthy and they weren't fully rested. So that's kind of my bigger point with this is the time of year now where the team has to be very, very careful and calculated in how they go about finishing the rest of this season. And they're in a really good place to get that done. Kev says, no, DT, we can't win without MPJ. Don't shut him down. I'm just talking about the next 2 games. That's all I'm saying. Like, give Michael, instead of a week off for the All-Star break, give him a week and a half, close to 2 weeks off. That's all I'm saying. And they can win without MPJ because they won without him tonight. So they don't need Michael Porter Jr. for the next 2 games against Portland. You know when they need him the most? The playoffs. That's when they need him. Okay? That's the point I'm making here. I get it. You want to keep the momentum going. They've won 6 in a row. I get it. But my point is, I really think we need to remember what happened at the end of last season and take that into consideration. Okay? So that's all I'm saying with this team right now. Don't put pedal to the metal just yet and just post All-Star break to try and get as high a seed as possible. I really do think they're good enough to win as a 4 or 5 seed. And again, if they get a top 2 seed, great. But it's how do they do that? That's kind of where I'm at right now with this team. But they have a really good shot. They do. There's no doubt about that. All right, what else from tonight? Bol was interesting. He is a huge fan favorite in Phoenix. There's no doubt about that. 19 points for Bol tonight, 8 of 17 from the field. Took 10 threes. Yeesh. I mean, I get it. Like, he's got the ability to knock it down, but he's 3 of 10 from beyond the arc. That was kind of my big issue when Bol was here with the Nuggets. Dude, 7-2. Why are you taking 10 3-point attempts? That's insane. Go to the rim, Bol. You're 7'2". I mean, you tower over Nikola Jokic, for God's sakes. And especially when Joker wasn't on the floor. I mean, yeah, DJ out there, I get it. He's close to 7 foot as well. But, like, my goodness. That was my biggest issue with Bol over the years. Is like, man, you're 7'2". Get to the rim. That's been my point with Michael Porter Jr. over the years, you know? Like, he's 6'10", 6'11". Stop just settling for outside threes. Get to the rim. And that's what he's been doing this year, which has been absolutely fantastic. And I think that's why this has been the best season of Michael Porter Jr.'s career. There's no doubt about that. All right, one more note in the NBA tonight that I thought was interesting. So the Lakers and the Charlotte Hornets executed a trade. They sent Colorado native Dalton Connect, a bunch of draft picks, a couple other players to the Charlotte Hornets for center Mark Williams. Now, Anthony Davis obviously is with the Mavs tonight. Boy, I don't know if you caught Anthony Davis with the Mavs tonight. He looked pretty damn good. Now, he did have like an abdominal strain and had to exit the game early. I mean, no shocker there. But after the game, he said it's minor and nothing serious. But the Lakers now have a massive need at the center position. Well, that trade has been rescinded because sources tell ESPN's Shams Charania that Mark Williams, the 7-foot center, has failed his physical examination and the trade has been annexed. It is rescinded. That is not happening. That physical showed multiple issues, sources said. It was not failed due to his back, however. He played in only 85 out of a possible 212 games through his first 2.5 seasons with the Hornets. So he only played in about 40% of their games. It says LA was confident in his medicals. Sources told ESPN at the time that the trade was agreed upon. Well, obviously, the LA doctors got a look at him and did not like what they said. In fact, they said, quote, "We fully vetted his health stuff, led by Dr. Chris Jones at UCLA Health and Dr. Leroy Sims on our team, and he's had no surgeries." This is coming from Rob Pelinka, the GM of the Lakers. So these are just part of it. He's still growing into his body. We vetted the injuries he's had, and we're not concerned about those. Now, I'm assuming that this is Pelinka's statements before the physical, because that wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense if it wasn't. But so again, this is going to be something that's going to affect the Nuggets in the West as far as getting out of the West, because look, as much as I don't see the Lakers as a legitimate threat to the Nuggets getting out of the West this year, they're right behind the Nuggets in the standings. And who knows what this team looks like with a healthy Mark Williams. So Dalton Connect will be back with the Los Angeles Lakers to be paired with Luka Doncic and LeBron James. So that was an interesting little tidbit today from out of the NBA. And then you had Jimmy Butler going off in Golden State. Steph Curry goes off. That's going to be another interesting scenario for the Western Conference this year. And it looks like the West did improve at the trade deadline. There's no doubt about that. But the Nuggets are improving their own homegrown talent, at least as of right now. Like I said, Julian Strawther's been playing better. Peyton Watson was playing fantastic until he got hurt. DJ's been a serviceable big backup for now. I still don't think I'm confident in his ability to do that consistently throughout the playoffs. And I don't think Michael Malone is either, because he has said that Aaron Gordon is the plan, at least come playoff time, to be in the rotation. All right, speaking of Michael Malone, before we get out of here, got about a minute and a half clip here from Altitude TV, Michael Malone after the game.
Scott giving up a second chance before he got to the boards. The game changed. What causes that? Is it not just pure luck where the ball bounces?
No, I mean, when you give up 17 offensive rebounds, it's not pure luck. We were doing a lot of ball watching. And in the first half in particular, Vic, it was kind of really frustrating to watch it happen over and over. They're shooting threes, and all of our guys are running into the lower defensive box. And we've all heard the adage, long shots equal long rebounds, and they were just going over ahead and they're giving them second and third opportunities. So that would probably be the one area where you would say good win, but we gave up 17 offense rebounds to 23 points. And that's something that we have to be better at.
What does it do for you guys or two opposing defenses when Jamal gets off to that kind of start?
Oh, I mean, it's just, I think the way he's played lately, I mean, people are going to game plan for him going in. But now when you have a guy like Jamal, who's, I think both he and Nikola at halftime, both at 17 points, really efficient. So now it's kind of like pick your poison. You know, I mean, how do you guard that two-man game? How do you guard Nikola in the post? How do you guard Jamal Murray in space? And obviously we know what both those guys are capable of. But, you know, again, I thought Julian, I thought CB, Aaron's rebounding, especially in the second half. I thought he was a man on the boards in that second half, and that really helped us out.
Okay, so there's Nuggets head coach Michael Malone after the game. Appreciate that from Altitude TV. Christian Braun, the job he has done this year, I mean, I really just can't speak highly enough of what Christian Braun has meant to this Denver Nuggets basketball team tonight. And I haven't even gotten into CB's performance tonight because it was such a dominant performance from Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. But CB tonight was, I thought, incredible on the fast break especially. I mean, how many dunks did Christian Braun have tonight? A couple of thunderous dunks. He finishes the game 6 of 13 from the field. Just 1 of 5 from 3, but that's all right. He's not out there to be a 3-point sniper by any means. 5 of 6 from the line. Okay, good. 7 rebounds, 6 assists, plus 19, 18 points. And he really is developing into one of the best fast break transition players in the league. He's not only more athletic than I thought he was, that in fact, Scott and Marlowe on the broadcast tonight said he had a 40-inch vertical at the combine or right after he left Kansas, which is like, wow. But he is very creative and smart on the fast breaks as well. Like you don't see Christian Braun make a whole lot of mistakes in transition, and that's a huge asset to this team. The Nuggets have been one of the best teams, if not the best transition team in the entire NBA this year. And I mean, obviously, the passing of Nikola Jokic helps a ton with that. Russell Westbrook has added to that as well this year. He's still a freak when it comes to the fast break. But Christian Braun, in my opinion, is the biggest reason the Nuggets have been just so damn good on the fast break this year. He's athletic enough to dunk the basketball if he needs to. He's creative enough to get around a defender. And we saw tonight, he sort of just sidestepped a guy, laid it off the glass and in on the fast break, and he'll pass it when he needs to. So, and then defensively, he's matched up on Devin Booker tonight, and I thought he did a pretty damn good job overall on Devin Booker. I mean, the Nuggets held Devin Booker to 8 of 19 shooting, 3 of 8 from beyond the arc, 24 points. That's a win against that guy, and he was a minus 18. So excellent stuff from Christian Braun tonight. Again, the Nuggets get the 122-105 victory over the Phoenix Suns. They've won 6 games in a row. They're 34-19 on the season. By the way, they're 17-11 on the road this year. I mean, what a job that this team has been able to accomplish on the road this year. It's been absolutely fantastic. They're 3rd in the West, just a game and a half back of 2nd behind the Memphis Grizzlies, and they're rocking and rolling right now. It's just the only kind of thing you worry about right now with this team is injuries and injury management. But it seems like the team has got a handle on that, and it's been absolutely great. Let's see. Corin says, underestimate us Midwest natives at your own. Oh, no. Okay. You're saying, okay. I thought that was to me. It's like, who are you talking about? Kevin says, we can take care of the fakers if needed, DT. Besides that, LeBron is going to retire after the season ends. Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. LeBron is going to play at least 3 more years. I'm convinced of that. I really am. Especially now, he's got to be at least somewhat rejuvenated with Luka on the team. And plus, he wants to continue playing with his son. I really don't think, myself included, a lot of people realize just how important that was to LeBron. But the Lakers don't scare me. So excellent stuff here for the Nuggets. Look, they've got 2 more games before the All-Star break, and they both come against the Portland Trail Blazers at home, both games, Monday, February 10th, Wednesday, February 12th, 2 winnable games. But like I said, it's going to be really interesting to see what Malone decides to do with Aaron Gordon, the calf injury management stuff, Jamal, left knee swelling, injury management type stuff, and Michael Porter Jr., who was out tonight with left hamstring tightness. So we'll see. But the Trailblazers have been really, really good over their last 10 games or so. They did lose today at Minnesota. They got spanked 114-98. But coming into that game, they had won 6 games in a row, and they had won 10 of their last 11. So Chauncey Billups, credit to Chauncey. He's got that team playing well. So these are not give me games by any stretch of the imagination. But again, in my opinion, the real win for the Nuggets in these next two games would be getting as much rest and recovery for their guys that have been out as possible. But excellent stuff from the Nuggets. It's their best stretch of the year. They're playing excellent. Jamal Murray seems like he's really found his game. And what a win. What a win tonight for the Denver Nuggets. That's going to do it for the postgame show tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back on Monday for live reaction to Nuggets and Blazers coming up. Post-game show should start around 9:15, 9:20 or so. But excellent win for the Nuggets tonight. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to In the Paint right here on Altitude Sports Radio.